Well, hello there again. How's it going? Nice to see you. First thing, you don't have to apologize to me for shooting your video a day late. You are in college, and college has certain responsibilities that you're paying to follow. So please, take a day. Take a day. Don't ever worry about it. I'm not gonna mention it. Anyway, so the authenticity thing. I thought there was a subtle irony in your defense of the second concept of authenticity by using Led Zeppelin, and I think you can probably understand why. But I think that really gets my point, which is just that it's impossible really to draw those lines. I really just don't think it's easy or productive. And you remarked in the conversation that, when you're genre jumping, I think that's what you said, genre jumping perhaps, that that's when it sort of rings a bell for you and you start to have a problem with it. And I think a lot of the music that resonates with me are individuals who who transition to all sorts of new forms that you don't necessarily think they're going to. So, I mean, David Bowie, for instance, comes to mind as an obvious example. Moved from sort of a 60s Brit pop sound to the glam rock thing, to a more electronic sound, back towards something else. And I think he gets a lot of credit for that, and he did it very well. But you could make the case that, particularly with the glam rock thing, that he wasn't really so much transitioning to a new genre as he was inventing a new genre. But still, that's the kind of thing I'm trying to say here. Beck is another good example of a musician I feel like who's transitioned around quite a bit and resonates with me. Radiohead is another good example, moving from the sort of more 90s alternative sound to a kind of electronic mode that has really worked really well for them. So I'm concerned about that notion of genre jumping as being a problem, because a lot of times the jumping of genres I feel like is fantastic. Anyway, sir, I figured we'd have a slightly different conversation, and I mentioned it once and you mentioned it in your last video, but my question to you is, why is radio dead? And before we go too much further, radio is specifically dead in the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut because there is just nothing on the radio worth listening to outside of public radio. And I know for a fact that this is not the case upstate or in other places in this country, that there are still radio stations that play a variety of music, but man, there is just nothing down here worth listening to. And so as a result, I get pushed towards the smartphone. I get pushed towards all sorts of apps that give me a lot more variety of music than what I get down here, because it's just horrendous. And I should be clear, I'm a little partial about this because radio is something that I have a bit of a history in. When I was a little bit older than you, I had a radio show on Stony Brook's radio channel. So I am very much interested in radio, and I feel like it's a great media, but I also feel like it is just being punched in the face around here like you wouldn't believe. It's like a cash machine. You punch it in the face and it spits out dollars, I suppose. Anyway, that's my question to you, and I would be interested to know what you think about radio and its state. As for me around here, not so much. Just AP exams, as you know, we talked about this last week, but they're a week closer now than they were last week. And by the next time you see me, they will be done. So that's good. Doing a lot of other things, starting to kind of plan for next year, which involves all sorts of teachery things that you don't really need me to talk too much about, but a lot of planning of what needs to go to publications to get copied and those sorts of things, really edge of your seat kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's it. Just kind of hanging out, enjoying. Finally, the weather's starting to turn, though today is kind of crappy, but it's become quite nice, and just kind of enjoying it and having fun with the kid in his first sort of conscious summer. So that's been a lot of fun. We went to the beach yesterday and he had a good time, and I had a good time, and Allison had a good time. So everybody had a good time, And speaking of good times, have a good time.